You know, sometimes the unthinkable can happen. And when it does, your family will remember you by what you've left behind.
Our little Adam was a drug addict.
And a pervert.
When you're gone, it's too late to hide any evidence of your hedonistic lifestyle. Hey, no one wants to be remembered this way. And when your time is up, you want to rest in peace, not in shame. That's why I'm here to tell you about the Rest Assured Disposal Service. Here's how it works. Seconds after your unexpected death, a monitoring device alerts our dispatch unit.
In and out in 5, let's go.
Our expert team of disposal technicians immediately converge on the premises to confiscate all your intimate possessions.
New guy that way. Let's go. Go, go, go. Contraceptive on the table. Let's move, gentlemen. Get that goat off the bed.
And no stone is left unturned. After the area is secured, our emergency interior designers begin the redecoration process.
Oh, no.
Once in the apartment, they create the illusion of a respectable lifestyle that will make your family proud. So by the time your loved ones arrive, your reputation will go from this to this.
Adam's Bible.
It's your legacy. Protect it with the Rest Assured Disposal Service. Because when you die, your family doesn't need to know you're going to hell.
Now you can rest assured.
Morning.
You know, that plays well into one of the articles that we're going to look at, but not right away because we have to talk about the weather and things of that nature first, as is our shtick.
I've always been intrigued by the handcuff on the dildo in that in that skit because I'm trying to why I don't know. I mean, I guess it's the putting a handcuff on a dildo is like the most stereotypical sex toy, I guess, so maybe it's just Hollywood. I don't know.
They're playing it up. They're like, yeah, look, this is.
Dag's trying to practically put together why the handcuff would be on the dildo.
Why do you need to is somebody trying to steal it from you? The old the guys with the important briefcases, they'd have it handcuffed to themselves, on the train or whatever. I don't know. Maybe she's got some suction to her. Yeah, so you don't lose it. Yeah.
No, they got the one cuff on. They got one cuff on the hand, and then they pull it in and out.
Oh yeah, it's just you need that torque, man. You need that chain attached.
Maybe they've been doing crazy stuff when they're drinking, and they kept losing it. So it's all right, somebody's got to keep this thing cuffed to them, so we don't lose it all the time.
You hit on a good point. You're getting wild. The dildo flies off the bed, rolls under the nightstand.
Right.
You got to get out of the mood to find it.
That's right. Nobody wants to stop mid-coitus to go look for the lost dildo. Just keep that thing hooked up, and there you go.
Oh, man, I feel so much better now that we worked this out. It's been bothering me for 20 years.
Well, it's a shame that they didn't have people to come in and clean up and take care of all that stuff so that nobody found your embarrassing things back in Roman times.
Ooh.
Wooden object, nearly 2,000 years old, suggests Romans used sex toys, the study says. But we don't have a good to scale, comparison here, so it's hard to tell how big that is, but it looks like a fucking club.
Yeah, it looks huge. I mean, the Romans built beautiful architecture. Are we to believe they couldn't craft a decent looking fake dick?
I'm sure they had really nice marble ones and stuff, and this was like
what if that that's what they expected, so that's
this is what the poor people had, the wealthy affluent Romans had the really nice, beautifully
they probably had the
sculpted marble penises, and this is what the slaves had to resort to.
So if So like, okay, like there's like fertility statues and stuff like all over the world. So how are they determining this was a sex toy and not some sort of fertility statue? Is there like, God, a smell to it? I mean, what are they get some sort of carbon dating? That,
Well,
like,
I'm
you know,
assuming
not for
they're going
carbon
based
or-
off of this right here that has the
The phallic shape, yeah.
right the appearance of,
Yeah.
of a dickhead, but
I
it
mean,
could
I-
also be, you know, like the handcuff dildo. Maybe they just tied a rope to it and you attach it to your arm, and this was like your club for when you were in battle, and so that you didn't like lose your club while you were out, you know, clubbing folk. You had it tied to you, and that's where the rope attached. That's seems like a more.
Dude, you're so proud of your invention, your club that you can't lose. You know, you're out showing it off people, and everyone's like, "Dude, doesn't that kind of look like a dick?" And you're like, "Ah, man, I really like this thing." I mean, you're the first person who mentioned I pitched this to 4 towns already. I was wondering why everyone was giggling.
I carved this one
man.
myself. Like, it's like
I modeled it, you know.
The artifact was unearthed in 1992 in a ditch at the Roman fort of Vindolanda near Hadrian's Wall, which once marked the Roman Empire's northwest frontier.
It's a ditch is the second creepiest place to find an old dildo.
Oh,
next to,
there we
like,
go.
The railroad
This-
tracks.
Here's to scale, so it's
Oh, that's small.
I don't know how
Aw.
much. How big is 10 centimeters?
About 4 inches.
So kind of scary how quickly you knew that.
I mean, I work in metric, so I gotta have at least a slight. So I think it's like 2.5 to 3 centimeters per inch. So
Bell and his dead giveaway.
So
Dag
that
at the
brings up
clip.
that brings us to an interesting article. I don't know if y'all saw this recently. I don't want this video to load. Sorry, I don't know what that is, but if it's attached to this, oh, and there it is. It's
I just call it concerning.
average penis length has grown in 30 years, and doctors call it concerning. I don't know why it's concerning. I'm pretty sure most guys are probably happy about that. but-
the doctors
The
are
guys
old.
are
Their
happy.
dicks aren't growing.
No,
Yeah.
see, the guys are happy. It's the women that are having the problem. It's all of a sudden now they can't, you know, that they're like that structure is not built for these.
Oh, this actually does make a lot of sense. As it turns out, size does matter. Researchers fear the phallic inflation is due to unhealthy habits like binging junk food or being mostly sedentary, or even pollution. Pollution makes your dick bigger.
Wow. All right.
Well, you know, if we could get more pollution, then you know, I could use a couple more.
Let's book a trip to Ohio.
Yeah, all of a sudden get some mutation on it, you know, like all of a sudden, like that's better than any like extends at the over counter or whatever the like at the truck stops or whatever.
It's like this South Park where for the medicinal pot, Randy gives himself ball cancer by putting him in the microwave. You know?
Yeah, literally.
Whoa.
He's carried around.
Bounce on him like hippity hops. Oh shit.
Erect penile length is getting longer from an average of 4.8 inches to 6 inches over the past 29 years. Sorry, Trey, you are now below average.
Ooh.
Oh no, I'm average. Okay, I'm average.
You're very average.
Very
I'm
average.
still in that range. Oh shit. That's a decent range.
Given the trends we'd seen in other measurements of men's reproductive health, we thought there could be a decline in penile length due to the same environmental exposures. And so fertility rates are down, but penis size is up. I don't know
think
if that's
that-
Maybe there's an
Longer
inverse correlation. like,
short dicks are more potent.
Well, maybe that's one of the reasons dicks are getting longer. If like you know, whatever it is that drives evolution is saying, okay, birth rates are down, we need more impregnation, so we're gonna get the, you know, the jettison point just a little bit closer to the target. You know, if we get that extra inch there, you know, I think it's just
Maybe they
whatever
can't,
this
like-
feedback loop is for evolution happening.
like the guys are pulling out so often that all of a sudden now like need a little bit extra so that way they can't pull out.
So my other thing was like I haven't seen Cell Block 4 in so long. Jesus Christ. I forgot about that movie. Okay, so if we look at like the history, let's say 2,000 years ago, the average size of sex toys was apparently, in the neighborhood of 4 inches. So is the whole big dicks are cool thing like a new thing? Maybe it's just people are being selectively bred, because women are selecting guys with bigger dicks now. Maybe it's just, a selective breeding thing.
Probably partially true. I don't know if it's completely true though.
I mean, I'd have to believe like dudes like from like caveman days were like, joking about big dicks. Like, I mean, dick jokes are just too funny to not be universal.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have like
don't we have cave drawings?
I'm pretty sure we have drawings on cave walls that show that they were proud of having big dicks.
Well, Wayne, society or civilization didn't begin in Africa, so probably some truth there. Oh man,
I don't know if we derailed this conversation like right off the bat today.
Hey, it started off with sex toys. What do you want? Started off as a dick podcast. Way to go, guys.
Well, speaking of fertility and fertilization, we got because of the surging egg prices, eggs, fertile. There we go.
Ovums.
Surging egg prices giving rise to plant-based alternatives. The national average, retail average for a dozen eggs climbed to $4.82 in January. I am undercharging.
Yeah. I typically charge $5 a dozen in like the past. But I'm gonna be starting selling eggs here again soon. I'm not really sure what to set my prices at. Especially because of all this. Like, I'd like to set it based on like cost and stuff. But, like, fuck, man, if they're getting $8 a dozen for shitty grocery store eggs or $5 a dozen or whatever, they're saying, it's like, mine are worth more than that. So, I don't know.
Here we go. They get to the reasoning why we're having an egg shortage. Over the past year, egg prices have continued to climb due to inflation and an onslaught of cases of highly pathogenic avian influenza, otherwise known as bird flu. Over 44 million laying hens were killed since February of 2022 due to continued outbreaks of bird flu, according to the USDA. It's interesting that they leave out the important part of that not even remotely close to 44 million laying hens actually had or came in contact with bird flu, but that's how many they fucking killed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they must just like have to take out a whole chicken house at a time. Like if there's any suspicion, I guess. They think they just like gas them. That seems like a logistical nightmare. And besides, it's awful that they just have to kill the birds like that. I mean, that really sucks. But I mean, to put that aside, like I am kind of curious, like how they dispatch that many birds.
They send a dude through with a samurai sword and just whop heads off left and right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably work. I don't know.
They schedule. They do it. They do it like they have like a cell block. It's like this cell block is scheduled for execution. They just go down the line. It's like, all right, like they get the guillotine out and just start laying bird heads on it. Chink.
I'm probably sending the migrant workers and say, hey, you guys want free supper? Go get it. Just let them handle it. They don't care about bird flu.
Joshua Rainier had posted about his own houses and what they had done. I think it was only like out of some, I want to say it was like 200 birds that they came in and destroyed. Like I think only like 30 of them actually had or came in contact with the avian flu, and they were like sequestered off and recovering. Like they weren't dying, but USDA came in and just murdered the whole flock, took them all out. It's like this.
Oh, is that the one of those viral videos where they actually came into the house?
I don't know. He had posted about it on Twitter. So
there was one guy showing that like he said, you know, like the flock was fine, but they had some like fed guys coming in there saying like, well, you know, you told us like these are, you know, the infected, you know, birds, so they have to be, you know, the whole shebang has to be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, it's the entire thing is completely manufactured. I mean, imagine if this had been the response in like nursing homes during COVID, is if one person gets sick, you just kill them all. Oh wait, that's kind of what they did. Especially Andrew Cuomo.
I forget what book it is by Joel Salatin, but one of his books he talks about bird flu stuff, and he's like, yeah, the day the bird flu inspectors came to my farm, like they just, you know, they pull up in their car that they've been going farm to farm to farm, pull up in their car, get out of the car, no booties on their feet or anything, and start walking around looking. And it's like, if you guys are really concerned about this shit, like, would you be hopping farm to farm, like, you know, and not taking any sort of measures to make sure you're not
cleaning up
cross-contamination?
Cleaning up between.
So I like to Steven's point, like I really do like feel like, I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is largely manufactured and nonsense for whatever, either be scare tactics or some sort of, I don't know, maybe the chicken egg companies get some sort of insurance or government assistance to replace their flock every few years if they say they have bird flu. I don't know. Yeah,
and like I understand that viruses mutate and change and adapt over time, but like, remember when bird flu was like a really big deal several years ago, and you like none of this was happening.
15 years ago or something.
It wasn't largely affecting chicken barns and farms. They weren't going in and just like slaughtering chickens left and right or turkeys or anything. Like it wasn't a thing. Like, why now is it? And I mean, obviously.
Well, when was the last time it would have been when I was starting to farm, when I really started paying attention to this stuff. So less than 10 years ago, I do remember a big thing, and they destroyed millions of birds because of this nonsense. But it does seem like it's so, and there's been like and when a lot of times, like, they're afraid of them jumping to people too, like the swine flu thing in like the 70s was like this huge scare tactic. Did we ever play like the commercials on here from the swine flu vaccine in the 70s? Like, the only person it killed was like the person on the army guy on the military base that they discovered it in him. It killed him and then killed nobody else. But they had like commercials like pushing the vaccine for it.
Like 2010s, sometime around there, they had a huge thing about the swine flu too. Like, but it actually did end up killing some people. But at that time, but like it still wasn't huge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
I'm almost positive we talked about or showed some of the like ads that came out in the 70s that they were specifically targeting like black communities, trying to get them to get this like this swine flu vaccine, and they were sharp to it then. They were like, hell no, we're not taking your vaccine. Get the fuck out of here. This thing didn't even kill anybody. Go away.
Yeah, this is when 2020 started, and of course we all did a lot of research that year, right? And one of the things that I was really following was sort of the history of them trying to push a pandemic, and like this being the one that took for whatever reason, and it was sort of some of the theories I heard which made sense was after 9/11 and Iraq war and stuff, it's like you need to keep that fear thing going, so they kept trying. Like, that's when they really tried to push these pandemics. Like, every year they tried one, and I guess that's the first one that like took. But they did, and again, as far back as the 70s, they did have some really ridiculous ads and pushes for this stuff.
It's partially because like people did actually see it. Like, I guess like you did see people, people did legitimately catch COVID. And, like, you did see that happen. Like I got it, twice, and it didn't really do much other than give me like a really bad cough like for a while. But I mean, other than that, like, it wasn't that bad. But like the that was it. It was proximity. I think like if some people were seeing people get the swine flu, people get this other, like they would have been just as outraged or just as panicked about it. But it's just because like they didn't see it, like out of sight, out of mind. Like, oh, I don't see swine flu. Like, what does it matter? But when you start seeing like, oh, grandma's got it, or we don't want to give it to grandma because we're catching it, those kind of things. That's what really drove the fear tactics like to another level. Like, oh, I don't want to kill my grandma. I don't want to do that, whatever. So
that, and I mean, really, just right along with that point, the numbers, even if you're not like seeing people get sick, there's like, oh, there's many millions of people, this many millions of cases in swine flu. It's like, yeah, there were a couple thousand, cases or something. So it just seemed a bit more remote. But the way they were really, the way the news was reacting to the coup was insane. I mean, I remember me and my wife watching, like the local Fox station, like, and just like we were just counting, like we were so surprised after like 2 weeks. The first time they ran any story that wasn't COVID related was like 2 weeks since they started. Like it was just there's never been like, I don't even think 9/11 had a news cycle like that.
COVID about the like they would do COVID. They would interview the hospitals. They would show the numbers. They would look at all the different responses from the federal government and all this other kind of stuff. Like basically they would just go down the line of like every COVID topic. Like that was all that they wanted to cover.
My favorite was the hospitals are being overwhelmed, and then if you went back
TikTok dances,
and then if you went back and you pulled up news articles from literally exactly a year before, there were stories about hospitals being overwhelmed. Go back 2 years before that. Hospitals are being it's like, seems like this is just the time of year where people start getting sick.
Yeah.
And like they talked about it here. The hospitals were being overrun. And there was even an article in the local paper about how overwhelmed the hospital here was. And there was a chick that I know that's a nurse at the hospital. She was like, this is bullshit. They laid off half of our staff because we don't have enough work for people. Like they won't see anybody for anything other than this. And because they won't see anybody for anything other than this, we don't have anything going on. Like the hospital's not overwhelmed. We're not overworked. Or we are overworked, but not because of this.
Well, a lot of those,
they laid everybody off.
Well, I remember too, they're like, oh yeah, look, the hospital's at, whatever, 80% capacity. And it's like, yeah, like but if you look like this, they always are because they're a business. And you don't, like you don't have empty bed, like what I mean.
They try to keep all the beds filled, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they're always kind of at capacity, and that's, I mean, I don't say that's like a good thing that people are in there and sick, but it's like you would want your hospital to run efficiently, Now, if worried about a sudden pandemic or something is a concern, I would assume that a good business would have a contingency plan for that, But again, hospitals and anything medical isn't really anywhere in the realm of private business ever. So it's one of those industries that just isn't, can't be. Like a prison,
that whole industry is completely incentivized by the government. So like everything, the whole thing is a giant incestuous relationship. So I think it's hard you can't detach the one from the other. Oh, here we go. SDG said he sent me a video. We're going to watch this right quick.
All right.
My lifestyle drastically changed. My income came to a screeching halt. You have to understand, I'm a hustler. I'm a legit entrepreneur. I sell things. I communicate with people all the time. I have to stay safe. I didn't have a choice but to trust the vaccine. If you live the type of lifestyle that I live, you out here in these streets and you hustling, an entrepreneur like me, why not do it safely? So I want everybody to take this seriously. Take a shot at staying healthy. Get the vaccine.
Did he say what he does, or is he
just said I sell things?
He's a hustler. He's out on the streets. Yeah, sees people every day.
Hand to hand interactions. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yep.
Wear your mask. Wear your gloves. Get the shot. Protect yourself.
keep your gun.
Gates is paying me to just put it right in the crack. It's great. Entrepreneur, hell yeah.
Yeah, I say he hit that entrepreneur and Hustlers.
Sell
several
things.
times.
Oh, true. I sell things.
A pretty straight edge dude that I work with at the shop. I was there a couple weeks ago, and him and somebody else were talking, and they were just like, oh, like we're talking about like making money, and like, oh, we can just start selling drugs. And they go, oh, hey, D, how do you sell drugs? And I think they were surprised just how like serious. Like, well, you need a buyer and a seller, and you need a market. So you need to go ahead and find your market first, and you need to find a good support or source, the plug, I believe the kids are calling it these days. Like going just like the whole like, business plan kind of thing, and they're like, whoa, what? I didn't expect that.
Hand them
He actually is just like
hand them Henry Hazlitt's Economics in One Lesson. Be like,
Yeah.
first read this, and then we can start.
And then what's the Iceberg Slim? Go ahead and read that book. And it's funny because I remember this dude years back saying, like, I don't remember where he alluded. He's like, oh yeah, we'll just just get a lazy job like being a drug dealer. I'm like, oh, that sounds like somebody who's never sold drugs. Easy work, okay. You gotta hustle just like anything else. Drugs do sell themselves, so like there is that, but you gotta put the hours in.
Some people who are probably going to have to resort to doing some hustling of some sort and maybe even selling drugs. The merchants who are in and around the hotels in New York City where they're bringing all of the migrants in. Did y'all happen to read this article?
No.
I had
Big Apple businesses say they're losing their shirts over the ongoing migrant crisis. So New York City has got this like multi-million-dollar deal with all of these hotels and stuff to basically house migrants from, I'm trying to remember where it is, Venezuela, Peru, and Ecuador. But the problem is now all of their rooms are being taken up by migrants from Venezuela, Peru, and Ecuador. And none of those people actually have money, so they're not buying things at the hotel. They're not going to the restaurants in and around the hotel. And they're also just hanging out in the streets and in the hallways and everywhere else around the hotels, which means that the tourists who would normally be coming to stay there are staying away.
Yeah.
And the people who normally come to that part of town to frequent the businesses that are there are also staying away. So all these like restaurants and like gift shops and stuff like that around these hotels are like having to cut hours and lay people off and stuff because they're literally going out of business because people won't come around there. It's
oh man, the government isn't just paying them enough to make up for all that.
They're only paying the hotels, and even the hotels are struggling because they're not paying them. They're not paying
them the right rate.
Right, they're not paying them the going rate,
like a full rate. Yeah, because that'd be the thing. I'm like, well, if the government's just basically guaranteeing you 100% occupancy, it's your regular rate or something. It's like, well, I don't know. It's but they must have some sort of bullshit where they don't pay them the full thing. Well, and of course, I'm not saying it's desirable. It may not be what you want in your business for that to happen. But a lot of times government programs like this are a big feeding trough. So, that would have been a better way to go about it for the hotel, I guess.
Well, and another thing that I think gets overlooked or oh shit, my brain stopped. Anyway, a thing that gets overlooked is like hotel bars are big business. Like people come to hotel bars to drink and like get
even if they're not part of the hotel,
right? Even if they're not staying at the hotel, like companies nearby, people get off work and they'll go to a hotel bar and they'll
classy
drink
people
and get food and stuff like that, and then you're already at the hotel. So like if you do get too drunk, then you just get a room
or meet a hooker.
Yep.
And then you get a room, and then you go up to the room.
But
if
people like, and that's one of the things that it talked about in this article was like people that's not happening. Like the people who would normally come and like fill these hotel bars in the evenings and on the weekends
don't want to go.
They're not coming anymore, and it's
and that's funny because that is the thing that like. Is easily forgotten about. It's not just the rooms, because like what I was saying, if they're just getting 100% occupancy, you know what I mean? Then what the fuck? But yeah, I guess, especially nice. So it must be nicer hotels, dude. Because like, I feel like these days, and maybe this is a post-COVID thing because businesses have just stopped doing stuff for us. They use an excuse like continental breakfast was like a sort of a thing, but like, man, like the amount of hotel, and this is just me being low class too. The amount of hotels I've stayed in that had like a bar in the hotel, it's pretty small percentage, but I tend to associate it with nicer hotels. So
yeah, I've only been to
a nicer hotel
one too. So
like Motel 8, like this is what the Motel 8's for, is this kind of stuff, but that's probably cruel and something to house them in a crummy Motel 8, even though they just walked 3,000 fucking miles, and probably lived in a mud hut. I'm not talking shit, or anything. I'm just saying it's probably the reality of the situation. I'm sure Motel 6 is just fine for them. I know I just said Motel 8. I downgraded to 6. You know what? They're worth a 6. That's it.
I think Motel 6 might be a little bit better than Motel 8.
Oh, really?
I think it's regional. I think it depends on where you are.
Here, the Motel 8, like the Motel 8s around here, I would be like, I wouldn't send anybody to.
That's where the drug dealers are going down.
Yes, I used to deliver pizzas to a Motel 8. It was something. No tips.
Or the gang
the
fights.
Motel 8.
Yeah.
Well,
Blood's a
similar thing. I think we talked about it before, but like a similar thing is happening in California, where they're giving out the homeless voucher or the hotel vouchers to homeless people. And so a lot of these hotels are now at like 80% occupancy with homeless people just staying there ad infinitum. Like the voucher doesn't have an expiration. And I don't think they're getting paid anywhere near going rate. And the same thing is happening. Like people aren't going there to like touristy stuff. People aren't going there anymore. So like these hotels they're not going out of business, but they're having to severely cut staff and cut costs and stuff because they can't make money.
Question: are these hotels like forced into these programs, or are they able to opt in or out of these voucher programs?
Probably select hotels, like I would assume, because usually
in California, it'd probably be
they're
pretty like mandatory. But I don't know. That's just my guess because I just feel like they're awful over there on everything.
I think it's one of those you have a choice, but you don't really have a choice type of
strongly encouraged. Yeah.
It's like you can say no, and we'll make sure that your property taxes go up and that all of your utilities go up, and like
you get a discount. Like it's like you get the discount. You get the government discount.
We will completely corner you out of the market if you choose not to participate, or you can participate and go bankrupt all on your own. So you get damned if you do and damned if you don't, I guess.
Yeah. Send an old Tony make you an offer you can't refuse, eh? Sorry, that was racist, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
You hate those
disparage
Italians,
the Italian
don't you?
community.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm allowed to make fun of Italians.
So Italians are like Asians. They're technically white now, so you can't be racist against them.
Yep. But you cannot like them because they're Catholic, so that's okay. Not because they're Italian.
Let's see. Speaking of not liking people, or just not liking, discriminating against people. Here we go. It's a good segue. Post Malone rejected by an Australian bar because of his face tattoos.
I like how you added in an Australian bar, which is not in the headline, and confused me because when they just say rejected by Australian bar, that sounds like he's trying to be a lawyer in Australia.
Just trying to keep it nice and clean for our listening audience only, not the viewers who can read. Not that any of our viewers can actually read, but
I might have shared this in the group chat before I realized it was a bar. Or like I was drinking. I'm like, oh shit, he's trying to be a lawyer. That's cool.
See, I automatically assumed that it was a bar because I figure Australians are more likely to drink than have lawyers. So.
I'm sure the government appoints some lawyers when they need them, when they determine they need them. Is Post Malone good? Like his music? I don't really know his stuff.
It depends on your taste, but like I don't think it's the worst thing. Okay, like it's not terrible. It's not necessarily like my favorite though.
I'm totally okay with an answer of I would never put it on, but it's I think musically it sounds fine. I guess I was talking to somebody about that last night. Somebody I was like, I like there's a lot like Chicago. Like I think they're a good band. I just don't like to listen to them, but I think they're good like musically. That makes sense, right?
I will begrudgingly admit that he does have some good songs. It's definitely not like across the board. I'm not gonna go listen to Post Malone. Like I will listen to
Candy Paint.
I will
Candy Paint by Post Malone is a good one.
I'll listen to certain songs by Post Malone. I'm not like putting Post Malone on a playlist deliberately, but if certain songs come on a playlist that I have playing, then I might not hit skip. I actually really okay, so this is terrible. I actually do really like Post Malone, Machine Gun Kelly, and a handful of others like that. Not because I like the music, but it's really good running music. Like when I'm going for a run, especially like a long run, it's got the good beat that's good to run to. Like I got home and I turned off my headphones when I got my earbuds when I got back to the house after a run, but the music kept playing and it came out of my phone instead of out of my headset. And Stephanie goes, "What are you listening to?" It's like, it's good running music. I don't know. Like anytime I'm not the playlist literally serves no purpose other than I go on a run and this is what I put on. Like I'm not listening to it in the truck driving to work or anything. But.
Yeah, like old MGK had some decent decent beats and stuff like that. But no.
Oh yeah, I like Lace Up, that album.
Yeah, Lace Up the whole Lace Up album's decent. Yeah.
I can karaoke the fuck out of the song "Lace Up" though. If I can, I actually do that pretty good if I do say so myself. But oh fuck. Yeah, like Post Malone, he's I heard he's really nice, like in person or something, or he's like a decent dude. So that's always cool. But what do I know?
Yeah, he seems to be like a down to earth person because I think he was hanging out with
invented himself, right? Like he was like some like preppy looking dude and said, you know what, I'm gonna tattoo my face and become a rapper or something.
Yeah, I think he was he almost has the same like career like as like Yellow Wolf, like the way his career went. Like he was kind of a normal dude and then decides like to do this rap thing and it just kind of takes off.
Nice. I like Yellow Wolf. Oh, he must be a big deal where you live, huh? I didn't even put that together.
Yellow Wolf, yeah. Yellow Wolf is huge here.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he's actually where he grew up is like just literally down the road from like not too far from like a city over from me, actually.
Nice. Yeah, the song "Pop the Trunk" is fucking nice.
Yeah.
Good video too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I was doing work in Alabama one time, and the dude, my partner I was working with, he goes, "All right, so we get to Alabama. If anybody asks you what the password is, it's Roll Tide." Like, okay, gotta know that. It's apparently an important thing to know there. So.
Yeah, if when you're talking, you say before you leave, you gotta say Roll Tide. Like it's a thing. It's like it's like
or say War Damn Eagle if you want to start a fight.
Yeah. If you want to make somebody mad, yeah, you say War Eagle. But if you don't say Roll Tide, it's like like between two black people saying the N-word to each other, it's like that's the level of cordial that saying roll tide is. Like, yeah, like you gotta say it, man. Like, yeah, hey, what's up, Roll Tide? Like, if you don't say yeah.
Oh fuck. Football.
Alabama actually has a really good college basketball team this year.
Yeah, they might actually go the distance. I don't know.
And so I know they're ranked number one. I think it's more because Purdue's gone on little bit of a skid than that Alabama is actually the number 1 team in the nation. But hey, I mean,
I think Auburn is ranked this year too. Oh.
Has Bruce Pearl had his annual 4-game suspension yet?
I don't think so yet. I think he's actually been able to keep out of that.
It seems like every year he gets a 4-game suspension for like recruiting violations or something. It's like,
I think he's actually, been good this year.
Behaving himself.
Yeah, he's behaving himself this time.
Whatever.
But they've lost a few games.
We ran Dag off. We started talking about sports, and he's just like out.
I'm still here. I'm just taking an opportunity to handle something.
Handle something.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that.
He's got to clean that 4.8 inches.
This bowl does kind of look phallic in shape, so it's funny that you say that.
Don't they all like? That's maybe I've just seen the wrong ones, but I kind of feel like they all sort of do.
This one kind of really. Oh fuck.
Let's see what else we got on the docket for. I was gonna play this video. Doesn't really.
Oh, that's dope. Owning night vision is like the next level shit. Like if you got the fucking night vision in your like your gear, your kit or whatever, that's good. That's that's pro and expensive.
Well, and
yeah,
when they get old,
when
they get old and they aren't making music video anymore, they turn into shit libs. Except for Ice Cube, he got pretty anti-Democrat especially during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what this young king has to say.
A girlfriend?
I don't.
Do you think I'm hot?
Not really.
Oh, why?
Way many more people attractive here than you.
What's not hot about me?
Your personality and your voice.
My voice?
You're a little too small. You can maybe like eat a burger and not be anorexic.
That's aggressive.
I don't know who you're trying to impress. No one's gonna simp over you.
Girlfriend?
I don't.
That guy was great. That's why I had to sit down. I thought that one was hilarious.
That's some king shit right there. Her voice really is annoying.
Yeah. The like almost like a little more than like teen girl voice, but like it's like a grown woman. It's like they're trying to do some kind of like an older woman trying to do like a young girl valley girl accent or whatever. Okay.
Well, like I have people say like they go like you don't fuck a personality or whatever, and it's like okay, like that's true, I guess, but it's like I don't know, man. There are definite like turn-offs. Like okay, she's like she's like physically like hot or whatever, but yeah, like I spend more than 5 minutes with that woman? No, no, I could have a conversation with that woman. I'm sure that we would have nothing in common. She does not sound, this just doesn't seem appealing in that regard, So, but I really do. Props to the guy for having the fucking balls when I even just go, oh yeah, I guess, because you're on camera and on the spot and go, nah, fuck you.
See here in a few years, they're gonna, because right now it's the whole objectifying in the gym kind of thing. In a few years, like no guy's gonna look at any women in the gym, and women are gonna like do this whole experiment thing in the gym, and they're gonna like walk up and be like, oh, don't you think I'm hot? And they're gonna be mad when they get rejected because like guys are just like, no, like, I'm not.
What was this interview thing? Were either of those like actual like people who were like are there other videos of that guy being based or what the fuck was that?
I don't know. I just saw it. Like it's some kind of TikTok thing.
I assume it's one of those e-thought things where they go and try to get a guy to flirt with them and then be mean to them,
and then show, like either they tell them like, oh, you're not good enough for me or something, or
it's just like you don't think I'm hot or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's a little presumptuous. First off, tone that ego down, girl.
You could tell that either she was just so like stuck in the bit, or that she was or that was staged, because like she in real life she would have like slapped him for saying something like that.
I don't know. I think she was probably genuinely. I think chicks like that approach dudes who look like that because they think they're gonna like drool all over them. I mean, like, oh my god, this hot chick's talking to me. And clearly, she did not get what she was anticipating out of that.
Well, I'll make you think I'm hot. No, modern porn doesn't really use music, does it?
I don't know.
I just realized that. Like, you know, that was definitely a thing like that when you're popping in a porn VHS. There was a score to that. You know, it wasn't a good score, but it was there.
You have like the Hans Zimmer intro plays, like.
So now podcasts have better music.
Yeah. And they're like, you know, you listen to enough podcasts and you find a few that use the same intro music because they're all from the same free, you know, sites. So I hear that a lot. I'm like, oh, so and so uses this intro music too.
I don't think I've heard mine on any other shows.
I don't know. I'd have to re-listen. I haven't been listening to a lot of podcasts these days. I used to listen to fucking 30 different shows a week, you know. I don't anymore. I just don't care. Sorry. I don't want friends. I have a lot of great friends who have great podcasts, and I feel bad because I don't like listening to them, you know, because you know do a lot of hard work. A lot of them are good. I just can't.
No hard feelings, huh? I don't blame you.
I'll do a lot of them that will like.
Justin's show's boring anyway.
It is. My show is so boring. I've stopped listening to it.
I've listened to a few of yours.
My wife used to make fun of me because I would listen to every episode and like really analyze what I did well and what I didn't do well. And I've kind of, I don't know if I feel like I've figured out what I'm doing or if I just stopped caring. It's somewhere in between, I'm sure. But,
well, like they say, like stand-up comedians,
like
that's like your big thing is like you're supposed to, if you want to be good, you need to listen to your sets, like record it back and learn where to improve. And I think probably a lot of truth to that for like podcasters too. So especially like when I started doing the Nexus podcast a few years ago now, and it was so hard to do because I was still getting used to being like recorded. So having to listen to my own voice for like an hour and a half at a time was just awful. You know what I mean? But I did do that a little bit to try to sharpen up. You know, now, and especially doing this show, because this show is live, it sort of takes a lot of like the nervousness out of like recording a show. Because I remember before I ever did like a live show, like, dude, I could never do a live show. That'd be terrifying, you know. But you know,
it's actually easier. It's easier than doing the recorded show because the recorded show, like you know, like okay, well, I'm either gonna have to like get this perfect the first time, or I'm gonna have to like do edits, and edits are gonna suck. So. Well, let's try to get this right the first time.
I had a whole folder that was full of like 10-second clips of me attempting to start the show and then just completely fucking it up. Be like, all right, well, I'm gonna try that again.
I know we've talked about this, but if you can make it through that first two lines, it's like you're good. But I do the same thing. I have like 37 take ones. And when they're 10 seconds long, but then when you get to that 10 seconds, you're stalling. You know, you're
once I stopped saying the episode number, that helped me a lot because, like, for some reason, I just fumble all over numbers.
Both the number.
All right, fact check podcast episode number 40. I don't know. That just
see if you had a script, you wouldn't like miss that, but like it would be, you know, you'd be like, oh, episode. You know. Yeah, actually, you could still mess it up because if you're sitting there, you're having to read it out like, oh, 461, 5,000, episode 5,720. You gotta read it out.
That's the only thing that's pre-recorded on my show is the ads. Everything else is just off the cuff. That's why the ads are so good because I sat down and spent like an hour and a half one day just trying to get those right. And I still feel like I do terrible with those, but the most well-produced part of the show anyway.
Hells yeah.
Well, and Dag, it's easy to do a live show with us because we don't take any of this too seriously. I mean,
yeah, and it's just you know, yeah, it is. It's not bad. And it's got me written out when I do like a recorded show. Even it's like little bit. Oh yeah, whatever. It's just not as much of a nervous thing because also we record so much for the show. It's just so easy to get so many episodes under your belt, you know. So I probably tripled my number of total podcasts doing the show last year.
I mean, 3 days a week, they rack up pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy, you know, like that you got like the guys who have, you know, thousands of episodes out there, you know, and it's just like it's just, I mean, you do the math. I mean, you do so many for so long. I think like I've tinted, you know, 10 or 15,000 cars, and it's like I remember tinting like 4 cars. But like, you know, like, but you do that many, it just adds. But it's like, man, like that amount of episodes. I remember when I first started doing I'm like, okay, I listened to like Lions of Liberty. And I remember I was texting John one day about one of his interviews from a couple years ago. I listened. I was like, "Oh man, this is cool." And this guy, he's like, "What?" He's like, "I don't remember that." You know, and I'm like, "How can you not remember like a podcast you did?" You know, and now like I'll look back, I was like, "Oh yeah, we interviewed that guy. We interviewed that guy. Oh, I forgot about that." You know, so it does. Yeah, like Tom's got a lot. What Jack Spirko? He's I think pushing 3,000 now. Fucking what was it? Scott Horton is like 5,000 or something insane. It's fucking. It's a lot of content. Holy shit.
When so for the month of December, I pre-recorded everything. Like I sat down the last week of November and the first week of December and just recorded every episode that I was going to have for the whole month. And that way I could take the rest of the month off to just do holiday shit. And so like I would get messages about, "Oh man, this last episode was, you talked about this and this and this." I'm like, I did that a month ago. I don't even remember that.
That's old news, man.
So then I had to like go back and re-listen to the episode so I could remember what it was I talked about.
Oh shit.
See that's like, but like I want to do some stuff like for my like gaming channel, but like I know that I would have to script it, and I know that I would have to like edit it. And that's a lot harder to me than my other like more like political channel. So whenever I do my political channel or whatever, like a just basic commentary channel, it's just like I can just talk about whatever I want to that day. Like okay, well I want to talk about this today. Let me rant about this for 10 minutes, and I can rant about that for 10 minutes. It's much harder to sit there and go, oh, let me be deliberate, let me edit, let me script all this. They're like if people say like you like doing legit YouTube like isn't work, they're like they lost their mind. Like, they don't know anything about it. Like, they're just completely they're ignorant. They're out of the know. Like if you actually legitimately wanted to do YouTube the right way, like that or whatever, you would have to recording videos the right way. You have to have a plan and have that script and all that kind of stuff. If you want to have basic constructed videos in the way that you want them to be.
Storyboard. Yeah, and that's my challenge doing like video projects is I'm not very organized. I need to be better organized. Oh well, we'll learn. So what you guys getting into this week? You got anything fun going on? It doesn't feel like a Monday. I've been working like all weekend, so it doesn't really feel like a Monday.
I worked all weekend too.
Now reminded me last night. He's like, "Oh, we're doing the show in the morning." I was like, "Oh, fuck, I guess." I guess it's Monday.
I don't know that I've got a lot planned for this week. Katie started wrestling, and so they had two meets last week, and she didn't get to wrestle in either of them. She's big for a 7th grader, and not like heavy. She's just
tall.
She's a big kid. She's about 5'8", like 160. So there aren't a lot of 7th grade girls who are that size. So she hasn't gotten to wrestle yet, but hopefully
they have to do like classes or whatever.
Yeah, they're in weight classes, and so she could technically wrestle against a boy in the same weight class, but the boy for the junior high team who's in her weight class, the first meet that they had, he pinned a kid in 29 seconds, and then the second meet he pinned the kid in 17 seconds. So like, and you only get to wrestle one person in that weight class. So So obviously he's going to be the one that's wrestling at the meets, not her. Like, this is her first year, and he's out there pinning folks in under 20 seconds. Like, it's pretty obvious which one's going to wrestle. But they've got a big. They don't have any meets during the week this week, but they've got a big like tournament or whatever this weekend. So hopefully she'll actually get to wrestle in that. So that'll be fun. That's all I've really got planned for the week. I will work tonight and tomorrow night, and then I will spend the next 2 or 3 days just trying to catch up on sleep.
I gotta
looks like
get a
she's
plan to.
So she looks like she's losing too bad, Justin. You got to run in with a steel chair. Here comes Justin with the steel chair. Sorry.
My ex wants to get my son into wrestling.
As long as you don't bring out the nails, like you don't put the nails. The nails on
my
the
ex
mat.
said we should get my son into wrestling because he's 14 and he's about 6'2", 240, and she's like, we ought to get him into wrestling.
Jesus Christ.
He's baby shit soft though. Like he couldn't do it. He played football a couple years ago and they put him in at D end. And I was like, yes, like he is the right size for a D end. Like he's gonna just absolutely smash somebody.
Let me guess, he got pancaked twice and then he was just like, I'm done.
Man, he came off the edge and a pulling guard hit him and that was it. Like the rest of the season was just trash. He got hit hard, and he didn't want to hit anybody ever again after that. It's like, oh man, that's part of the fun of it. Like they hit you, then you hit them back. Like that's
you get your hold once, and it's like, oh man,
you boys and your roughhousing.
Is 6'2", 240 big? I don't know. He's still, as far as I can tell, he's still smaller than me, and I can knock his ass down easily.
Your daughter's got weight on me,
240,
man.
like that's.
Fuck, I'm 160 at like my heaviest, bro. I'm like 150, 155. Holy shit.
See, I just say Charmin soft. You Charmin soft, boy.
See, this is spoken like a true lineman. I'm pretty sure like a pulling guard, like that's their. Anytime they're told, all right, we're going to run a sweep, you get to pull.
You pull. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. Here we go.
I'm going to go kill somebody.
Because every other time you're having to just like, like at a pass play, you're just having to block, so it's just like, oh, well, I got to stop and hold this guy here. And that sucks. But like getting to go and like just smack somebody. Yeah, that would be.
I played corner. They put me at corner when I was in high school for we had a game against a option quarterback that did not throw the ball. Like he was either going to run it or he was going to pitch it. Like there was no passing on that offense. And so they moved me up to corner because there was no reason for me to play safety if the other team wasn't going to throw the ball. And they were like, we just need you to set the corner. And about halfway through the first quarter, after getting hit by a pulling guard like 6 times in a row, I went back to the sideline. I was like, can I like go back to safety? This shit's not fun. And they're like, no, you're doing your job. We need you to set the corner, occupy the guard. That way our linebackers can make a play on the quarterback and the running back. I'm like, so I'm just the sacrificial lamb out here. Like, just take the skinniest guy on the field and let me get killed every play. Lots of fun.
Oh, good.
Just like a good horror movie, they always need someone for bait.
That was my purpose.
Oh, excuse me.
Let's see. I was thinking about pulling up the metal detector thing, but I think we'll save that for when Clyde's here, since that was his article. And
oh, the that's interesting. I want to read that too. That's cool. Me and I guess we gotta call him Old Wayne now, but me and Old Wayne, yeah, we're gonna put a roof on this morning, so it's gonna be fun this afternoon. Roofing over the RV. It's not gonna be too bad, but it's roofing work. It's gonna be our Monday.
Well, y'all have fun with that. Let's
Thanks.
see.
Thanks.
I guess that's about it. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of
yeah.
kind of petering out on this.
Yeah,
it would probably help.
Water, but we hit an hour. We're good.
It would probably help if we weren't quite so retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.